On the same day that we find out the Clarity Act is officially delayed, Donald Trump was on Punchbowl News and sent a huge Bitcoin warning to Congress. But hey, all hope is not lost, guys. Bitcoin actually rallied to $65,000 this morning on the Clarity Act failure. So, you know, I guess it's all good here, but there's a lot of updates in terms of the Clarity Act. It's what we're going to be covering today. But before we get to that, let's watch Trumpy boy. Let's watch Trump in regards to him being asked about ethics and Bitcoin in general. I actually kind of enjoyed this clip. There is some funny Trump moments in here. So quick clip. I'll be right back.
One of the things that Congress is wrestling with now is crypto. A big crypto bill is on the agenda. Democrats want to impose ethics restrictions and limit your ability to conduct your family's ability to conduct crypto business while you're in office. How do you feel about that?
Well, I'll tell you, it's very interesting because Nancy Pelosi, nobody ever did that with her. And I believe crypto is very important because if we don't have it, China's going to have it. They all want it, okay? And we've done a great job on it. We've done. Biden all of a sudden at the end became very strong for it because he saw I was getting all of the business. I did it for a lot of reasons. One of them was politics. There were a lot of people, like they say 100 million people worldwide and a lot of people.
Right.
And then Biden saw what was happening. I was killing him. And he all of a sudden loved crypto. But I do it very simply because we can't let China have it or Japan have it. Other countries really want it and we dominate in it. So to me, it's very important. But they want to do a bill. And in the bill, they want me to be different than everybody else.
So you're against that, it would sound like.
Well, I don't mind putting it in a blind trust. I don't run my stuff anyway. I let my kids run it. And I never talk to them about things. If they want to go into, they're not involved in government. I don't talk to them about government. I don't talk to them about much other than to say, I love you kids. They're good kids. But we don't want to see China take over crypto. I don't want to see China win with AI and crypto. Crypto is a big deal. I mean, I see it more and more where people are paying with Bitcoin, and they don't even know about cash anymore. That takes a lot of pressure off our dollar. It's a good thing for our country. But if China took over crypto, which they would love to do, or if China took over AI, which they would really, so we are leading with AI on China. Nobody thought that was possible. The reason was energy, because he can create, he's an amazing guy. China can create unbelievable amounts of energy. And they use coal and they use oil and gas and they use, they make a lot of windmills, but they don't use too many windmills because they're smart, because wind is a disaster. I
don't understand your obsession with that, but
you know what my obsession is? I want the country to be successful.
Oh, man. Honestly, I look, you might not think that was an important clip, but there is some things I do want to unpack before I get to the Clarity Act stuff. I did write down some notes so I don't forget everything. Obviously, the first thing was kind of hilarious. The Nancy Pelosi thing. You could tell he wanted to be like, no one blames Nancy Pelosi for insider trading, and he stopped himself because that was bad framing. So that's like the funny part about it. Obviously, he did mention the Clarity Act in particular in terms of the ethics provision, basically kind of leading down what we've been saying for a while, or rather not us just in particular, but Senator Lummis has been saying for a while that the Democrats, especially those led by Elizabeth Warren, are, I would say, sacrificing this bill because they have such hatred for Trump. And he kind of acknowledged that. And then second, of course, the nation state race. Look, yesterday we did a show about Russia passing their own version of the Clarity Act. It's not good. Some people were accusing us of endorsing Russia. We're like, no, this is not good for the Russian people. But it is interesting, the timing of them passing through their version of the Clarity Act, which just goes to show what we've been saying since November of 2024, that ever since the U.S. came out and said they wanted to become the Bitcoin superpower of the world, it has kicked the dominoes for the nation state race. in terms of embracing Bitcoin. That, what's it, the cat's out of the bag in that one. Now everyone is vying for that position. So that's two very quick narratives that Trump is kind of hitting in that clip. And before I move on, before I go further, this is reminding me of, you guys know I love Nolan. I think you guys truly enjoyed when Nolan came on the show. What was that, last Friday? 2 Fridays ago, I believe. And he mentions a lot in terms of the narrative frontal attacks that Trump does. And if you ever watch his show, he's very adamant about this idea that you may think Trump is an idiot, but when he makes these sound bites, he's doing a lot with very little words. And I'm not going full MAGA tard here. I'm just saying in that context, this clip becomes much more interesting to me. Again, hits the ethics provision. He talks about the nation state race of Bitcoin. He goes further. He literally, and this is kind of like a silent part there where he says, hey, I love Bitcoin. It takes pressure off the dollar. It's like, whoa, okay. You're talking about the monetary race. You're talking about a monetary restructuring with 2 words, basically. It's like, that's a pretty big statement. He also connected money with energy in that 2-minute clip. Obviously, he was talking about AI, but as we know, as we've talked about on this show, I usually framed it like the Petrosat. But in terms of when we know Bitcoin wins is when energy is priced in Bitcoin, or put better, when you use Bitcoin to purchase your energy. When energy contracts are settled in Bitcoin, that's like the end game. That's when we can be wholly convinced that Bitcoin has won the geopolitical and global economic race. And what did he do? Yes, he was talking in terms of AI, but the conversation is linked about crypto, AI, and energy. What is everything we've been talking about? What has Nolan been talking about? One of my favorite Bitcoin content creators in the space for a long time. It's like, the real game is energy, money and energy. When you connect those two, that's when the real unlock happens. And remember, if you watch that show, he was making the case, he as in Nolan, that the only 2 industries that really matter is energy and Wall Street. And as we all know, Wall Street is in Bitcoin. Now we've been hearing about energy companies using Bitcoin mining, but we haven't gotten to the final unlock of being able to settle energy contracts, buy energy, use, Bitcoin to get energy. That is like the final unlock. And we are making, progression on that process. Again, Trump hit 3 or 4 very huge topics in a very, how do you say, how do I say it? Maybe not so cynical, in a very non-eloquent way, but the ethics provision of the Clarity Act, the nation state race in regards to Bitcoin, taking pressure off the dollar, the monetary restructuring, and energy money, the connection between money and energy. Honestly, I know a lot of people don't like Trump, but it was kind of a masterclass. And maybe I'm glazing. All right, I get it. Maybe I'm glazing. But you know why I really like this clip? And it's for the 5th point here. That in this clip, and I clipped it in this way particular, there was a little more in that clip. If you watch the full interview, he goes on this tangent about, how wind and solar is really bad for energy and not subsidizing energy. But I felt like that was distracting from that final message there. The reason he wants President Trump, and these are in his words, maybe I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but the reason he wants Bitcoin in America is because he wants America to succeed. And I think that is the final, cherry on top to that clip. Connecting the ideas of, if you want to have a successful country and I want America to succeed, we need to have Bitcoin in America. We need to have favorable laws around Bitcoin in America. We need people using Bitcoin. We need Bitcoin businesses in America. It's like, we need to treat Bitcoin well to succeed. Now I'm like, all right, hey, I know you guys know I've been pretty cynical in terms of the Trump administration, in terms of politics and Trump in general. but he hit what let me count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 huge topics in a 1-minute ramble. Kind of a masterclass, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I truly enjoyed that clip. So shouts out to Punchbowl News. They really thought they got him there. They really thought they got him here, and somehow he does it again. He does it again. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of Trump in terms of how do I say it? In terms of him being a masterful operator in Washington, D.C. I think it's become very clear that he's probably the problem in terms of leadership. He might say some really nice things. Of course, he is media trained. He is a reality TV president. But when it comes to the rhetoric, it's like, man, it really is good how you can just weave all of this together. And I know if you're watching this, and maybe it's because you're not in media, maybe it's because you're not a Bitcoin propagandist like I am. Maybe it's because you haven't heard Nolan. You're like, dude, you're stretching there. You're making all that stuff up, Opti. And you could say I am. I'll give you that. But if you hear that and you connect all those dots, to me, I'm like, man, it was kind of a really good rip there. If you want to succeed, you need Bitcoin. Quote President Trump. That's the takeaway for that clip. Anyways, enough of that. Let's get to the Clarity Act. So the short of it, Clarity Act's delayed. All right. I told you this was going to happen. I'm not going to do the Nico. I told you so. But I think we've all seen the writing on the wall. We all saw that this was probably how this was going to end up. There's still hope that maybe it'll pass this year. At this point, I think I'm going to chalk this up, and hence why I did the title today, like Clarity Act fails. Actually, the title I wanted to do was Clarity Act fails, and yet Bitcoin is still up. Bitcoin bottom is in. Let's go, guys. We got another bottom indicator. It's done. It's over. Bad news, and the price goes up. Ah, man, it feels like a bull market all over again. Now, obviously, what do I know? But that's my general gut feeling, my trolling aspect of all this. Clarity Act fails. Bitcoin price goes to 65K. Bad news, and price still goes up. Telltale signs of a bull market. So I'm calling it. I'm going to say it. Bottom is in. All right. Bottom is in. If you are not entering your Bitcoin position right now and you're waiting till October because what do we call them? The T chart readers, the tea leaf readers are telling you that the bottom's in October and you're waiting till October for the final crash. I would not be doing that. As I've been saying for months now, even if the 4-year cycle holds up like we think it will, you want to have your position before October. And I'm convinced this timeline has moved up about a month or so. But anyways, let me get to the Clarity Act. Enough of that ramble. So Politico reported this last night, and this dropped at like 10 o'clock last night. So literally like the last few hours in the day is when we get the news that, oh yeah, the Clarity Act's been delayed until September. But anyways, here's Politico. It goes, Senate to punt on crypto bill vote. Quote, the Dems insisted on no clarity vote. Majority Leader John Thune told reporters late Thursday. Honestly, can I go on a tangent here since Nico's not here? Bros, my dudes. The Republicans are so weak. Like, bro, look, you gotta respect the hustle here. And again, I know I'm not the most political, but there is some kind of irony in just that little conversation. It's that the Republicans are so willing to compromise that they have no backbone. And the Democrats, especially the far left ones, are like, if you are not a staunch socialist, if you don't agree with everything that the far left agrees with, then like it's over for you. And what did Majority Thune just say? Majority Leader Thune, he's like, hey, dude, the Dems told us no vote on clarity, so like, I guess we're not doing it. what's the point of having them in power if they're not going to do anything? All right. Enough of my my politics take here. Let's read this. So, Senate Republican leaders are punting a vote on the landmark cryptocurrency bill until after they return from the chamber's August recess. So, now they're saying, hey, actually, we're not going to get it by the recess, which was the prevailing narrative that, oh, we're going to get it in by Friday. Maybe we'll stay over the weekend. Now they're like, yeah, you know what? Actually, we'll get to it when we come back in September. Guys, they really think we're stupid. They're literally doing the, hey, thanks for your vote, bros. Thanks for your vote, crypto bros. We'll get to it when we get to it. Oh, whoa. Oh, my bad. My sound board hit the fade to black. Where was I? Oh yeah. They're like, hey, we'll get to it when we come back. They know you don't understand the political process. It really is highlighting the, what's it, the Aristotle quote, like, you may not be interested in politics, but politics is interested in you. Or I think it's the other one where you may not be interested in politics, but if you're not interested in politics, then you're going to be ruled by, you know, people dumber than you. Is this not a perfect example? When they come back in September, it's the midterms. Like, the midterm cycle is back on. This is not going to happen this year. Clarity Act is done for this year. I'm convinced of it. It's over. And I'm kind of happy about that, to be honest. I wasn't the biggest fan of this bill. The more I looked into it, the more it did start looking like a massive surveillance bill. Had very little to do with Bitcoin, had a lot to do with shitcoins. But, you know, I am a little saddened that Alex Thorne didn't pop in yesterday. Alex, if you're out there, I wanted to talk to you about the Clarity Act, see if it was actually good based on a Bitcoiner that I know and trust. He's been saying it's a good bill. I know a lot of Bitcoiners have been saying it's a good bill. Personally, I'm like, this is a bunch of hot garbage. But anyways, with that being said, as we've been hearing, and as I've been reporting for you guys, the CFTC and the SEC is probably the only clarity we are going to get in terms of how Bitcoin will be treated in the United States. And their joint memorandum is actually pretty good. What they've been saying, yes, they're kind of allowing some shitcoins to get through, not failing. Wait, I always mix this up. Not passing. Wait. Why do I always mix up the Howey test? You want to fail the Howey test to be a commodity. If you pass it, then it's a security. Yeah, I always mix that up. But the CFTC and the SEC, I forget if it was last night or it came out yesterday morning, but they basically said, I think it was not the clip I played for you guys yesterday, but CFTC is saying, hey, like, we're ready to get this ball rolling. Like, we have everything set in place. That's the best clarity we're going to get. And I've been saying that for months. The CFTC and the SEC joint memorandum is the only clarity that we're going to get. And honestly, in terms of, is this good for the industry and less regulation and less of just a heaping pile of, you know, I forget, I'm supposed to be family friendly here. Heaping out of a very bad bill. So, hey guys, sorry. It's, my lights in the studio are like broken. So forgive it getting a little blurry. I don't know what's happening. I woke up and none of my light, I was barely able to get these lights to work for today's show. So forgive the blurriness a little bit here, but this might honestly be the best case scenario here for us. Clarity Act fails. CFTC and the SEC are gung-ho about basically embracing Bitcoin. No more, dude, I'm like blanking this morning. Regulation by enforcement. They specifically said that. And hey, the Bitcoin price is up on bad news. Kind of bullish, boys. Kind of bullish. All right. Anyways, the move, first reported by Politico, is a major blow to the effort to pass the bill, which would create a regulatory framework for digital assets. Supportive of the so-called Clarity Act, which requires bipartisan support to advance in the Senate, we're hoping for an initial vote ahead of the recess. Thune may still hey, guys, there's some hope here. Thune may still file cloture on the bill, a procedural move intended to tee it up for a vote, but it likely won't come to the floor until lawmakers return to Washington next month, according to two people with knowledge of the matter. Quote, the Dems insisted on no clarity vote. We're getting that queued up first thing when we come back in September. Okay, bro, I've heard this before. Anyways, Senate Democrats have balked at signing off in time agreement to speed up consideration of a range of outstanding legislative business that would allow the Clarity Act to come up for a vote, saying that they want crypto negotiations to continue. GOP leaders need all 100 senators to sign off on a time agreement if they want to complete the remaining items on their pre-recess to-do lists without keeping members in Washington deep into next week. Wow. A bipartisan deal on the bill has remained elusive. Several outstanding issues remain. Of course, the ethics provision to specifically address Trump's holdings in Bitcoin and crypto, which you heard him acknowledge in that clip. Democrats are also demanding change to address concerns raised by law enforcement groups about a pivotal provision in the bill. That's the BRCA, developer protections, and to overhaul the commodities portion of the measure that is overseen by the Senate Agriculture Committee. I don't know what that is, but hey, I'm okay with that if it just make Bitcoin a commodity and everything else is a security. I know. Opti's a statist and he wants the government to punish competition. Whatever, dude, whatever. The Howey test is pretty clear. Okay, that's my stance. Anyways, again, shouts out to Eleanor Terrett. She's been on the ball. I think, actually, no, she reported after, about an hour after. And this is more of an inside view. You know, if you don't trust the politicians, then trust one of our own to report, one of our own crypto journalists. And here's her take. Vibes in crypto are mixed at this hour. Many are angry while others are trying to look on the bright side, hoping Thune will queue up the bill as a priority when the Senate returns in September. Quote, while this isn't the result any of us hoped for when we began the week, the fight is far from over. The next few weeks will continue to work to find the last pieces of common ground needed to set up a successful vote when Congress returns in September. Yeah, okay, bros. Again, going back to what I said about the political analysis of this. The Dems are staunch, digging in their heels. They're not willing to budge. If you don't do what they want, what they say, you are a crazy, brainwashed person, that you have been psyoped. And the Republicans, you would think that, you know, hey, we're all in this together. We need to compromise. You know, we need to negotiate on this. That's the Republican side of this, and they're just getting washed. The Dems are not budging. The Republicans are willing to literally scrap basically all the good stuff in the bill to make the Dems happy, and it still doesn't work. You know, maybe the GOP can learn a little bit from the Dems here. Maybe. Hey, hold on before you throw tomatoes. I'm not saying, you know, they embrace far left collectivism. I'm just saying, what if the GOP, what if the Republicans were like, nah, we ain't budging. This is the bill. Obviously, they wouldn't get the votes, but like, I would at least like that stance a little more. Okay. Maybe I'm naive here. But anyways, in the context of all of this, I think this is a positive outcome. Not going to lie. I'm kind of happy it's been delayed. And further, I think it's like they're saying, oh, it's going to be the first thing that happens in September. I'm like, that's cap. This is over. This is done. I could be wrong. Maybe again, another Hail Mary, whatever. I think I'm going to side with what Senator Lummis said a while ago. It's like, if this doesn't pass this year, or rather by today, which it's not going to happen until like 2030, I think she was saying. Obviously, there's been talk that maybe 2027 it'll get through, but I think the Clarity Act's cooked. Now, that might also be a good thing. I know we want some clarity in the U.S. in terms of something in code, in law, or sorry, something in law, not just code. But maybe, just maybe, and this is me being naively optimistic about this, the next shot at the Clarity Act, whatever it's going to be rebranded as, might actually be better. I know. There's a slim to none chance that that is the case. It's probably going to be even worse than it already is. And like substantially worse, just knowing how the political process works. But hey, maybe we can get some more Bitcoiners in there. Maybe we can get some real Bitcoiners in there and not these, 70, 80-year-old tech Luddites to try to regulate something they don't even know how it works. Hey, a boy can dream, right? A boy can dream. But yeah, Clarity Act's cooked. It's done. I'm going to dig my heels in here. Clarity Act's failed. It's over. I know they're saying September. Clarity Act's done. Maybe I am going to get my wish after all. Actually, I'm not. Because in September, I'm going to have to cover all of this again if it does come back up. But maybe we can finally stop talking about Clarity Act. Though, I do want to read. I didn't bring this up, but I'm solo, whatever. I did see a pretty interesting tweet. And in the context of what I've been saying, I really wasn't going to read it because it was a little long. But there are portions of this that I think I can read, and it will provide some value to you guys. So here's this tweet I saw this morning. It's James E. Thorne, Chief Marketing Strategist at Wellington Altus Private Wealth. So there's a TradFi take on this. And it goes, I'm going to try not to read the whole thing, but Bitcoin is priced by politics and not scarcity, and this can't last forever. At a time when advanced economies are running structurally large deficits and public debt trajectories are drifting further from sustainability, the case for scarce non-sovereign stores of value should be strengthening. Oh, here actually, and he's doing the M2 debt chart here. Bitcoin, with its fixed supply and independence from political discretion, is the purest expression of that thesis, yet it remains curiously subdued. This is not because the macroeconomic argument has weakened. If anything, it has become more difficult to ignore. Currency debasement is no longer theoretical. It is embedded in fiscal arithmetic. What has changed is the willingness of institutional capital to express that view. The constraint is political. In the United States, an increasingly adversarial regulatory climate, personified by Senator Elizabeth Warren's campaign against the crypto industry, has introduced a new kind of risk premium. Large asset managers are not questioning Bitcoin's design. They are questioning the cost of being seen to endorse it. This distinction matters. Bitcoin does not require legislative approval to function. Its monetary properties are not contingent on the passage of Clarity or any other regulatory framework. The network will continue to operate exactly as designed, indifferent to Washington's posture. Markets, however, are not indifferent. The marginal buyer today is a regulated institution, and regulated institutions are acutely sensitive to political signaling. As a result, price discovery is being shaped less by macroeconomic reality than by regulatory ambiguity. And I think that is like the big takeaway here. So shouts out to James E. Thorne. I think this is probably the most apt insight into what the world looks like. I know we say on the show a lot, politics is downstream from culture. And I think that was true for a very long time. And I think throughout this whole process, it's become very clear to me, at least, that culture is downstream from politics. Now, whether we like that or not is a totally different conversation. But what we are seeing is that this isn't like a populist country anymore. I'd say the world isn't populist at all, in the sense that it's not what the people want is going to happen. And, I know we are all lulled into this idea of like, oh, we're democracy. We're a democratic country or democratic society. And it's the will of the people. And that's what's going to eventually go through the political process. And that's what's going to happen. And, we're all in this together and we're going to make the world a better place. It's like, that's not how the world works anymore. This is not a grassroots, bottom up thing. As we are all acutely aware, the politicians don't care what we think. All that matters is what they do and what they say, and then that gets distributed into the culture. I'm not the biggest fan of this. I truly believe in, culture is the driver of society, but there is a divide right now. There is a gap where it doesn't matter what we think. The politicians, the bureaucrats, the center of power, it's going to do what they want to do. And then we just have to eat it. Now, obviously, Bitcoin is diametrically opposed to that. Like, that's not how Bitcoin works. And I still believe that Bitcoin will inherently start to put chains on government, like it will constrain governmental power. But where we currently stand, that's not the case. And again, that's why I brought up this tweet here by, wow, I'm blanking on his name, Thorne? James E. Thorne. And again, markets are not indifferent to politics. And what was the whole saying here in terms of why any of us were bullish on Clarity Act is, once it goes through, the uncertainty from the institutions, they're going to finally get some certainty, and hey, they're going to deploy a lot of capital. We have yet to get to the point where these hedge funds and institutions and Wall Street will have a risk-free move into Bitcoin. Yes, the conversation has shifted from, I'm never going to touch this Bitcoin thing to how much should I invest in this Bitcoin thing? But when it comes to the laws of the land from the political machine, it's still a toxic asset. And until that does start to change, we're just sitting on our hands and we're going to be a stable coin. No. Bitcoin's going to pump regardless of what Wall Street does and regardless of what Washington does. But as you can tell, there's still a lot of uncertainty from these institutions of, maybe career risk of going into Bitcoin. Yes, again, the conversation has shifted. We haven't said it in a while. Get your bingo boards out. The Overton window has shifted, but it hasn't shifted enough yet. There is still political risk to embracing Bitcoin. And hey, again, you may not like Trump, but he was the battering ram to get this through. And I think I've said this a while ago that maybe we don't get anything done in terms of positive Bitcoin laws in the US, but someone after Trump will have to take up the mantle and push this further. I think this is probably the best case scenario here. Like, I'm kind of convinced we are just going to see, more executive orders, more, how was it put? And I said it the other day, more presidency by press release. Like, it's just rhetorical. They're just going to be saying things. Now, will there actually be any action behind it? Most likely not. But that is still the battering ram. That is still a force function to the conversation. It's just, it might not be Trump. Like, I don't think this administration is going to be the ones to really give us what we want. But hey, there's still, I guess, some time here. Though, if the Republicans get cooked in the midterms, it's like next 2 years are done. Nothing's going to get done. But I guess, he will still go down as the first Bitcoin American president. Okay. Uh-oh. Hold on, guys. My camera. There we go. So maybe this is as good as it gets. But I don't know. I'm gonna keep it moving, and I might bring up another topic here real quick. Actually, I'm gonna change the numbers up. I was gonna play the Michael Saylor clip on Diary of a CEO, but you've heard that before. And the only reason I play it is to really kind of talk about, look, the Bitcoin message is getting out there. This might be, if you're unfamiliar with the Diary of the CEO, hold on. It's one of the biggest podcasts in the world. That interview, it wasn't Saylor's best performance, I would say. But that video itself might be like the fastest Bitcoin interview to get to 1 million views. It's currently at 770 or 700-ish thousand views. It'll probably get to 1 million. The conversation obviously I'm guessing 1 million new views of Bitcoin content, but we've heard everything he said before. I'm going to change it up because there was something that we weren't able to get last week because of course, the cold card hack or cold card wallet fail. So if you've been following along on macroeconomics, Scott Bessent did something super interesting, and I've been talking about it for a long time now, and it does have to do with the yen carry trade. So the short of it, the U.S. intervened on the yen, but how they did it, I think, is the most interesting aspect of that. And I'm forgetting why I'm even bringing this up now, but whatever. I'm going to talk about that right now, and then the token wars are not over. To wrap up the show, I have to talk about the most recent collateral damage in terms of AI kind of attacking Bitcoin code. There are some pretty big vulnerabilities that I need to make you aware of. So it's not your funds. Well, your wallet isn't going to get hacked, but there are some issues that have come up since last Thursday. So that's the show. I'll be right back after a quick break. Here's the part that nobody says out loud. Buying Bitcoin on an exchange and leaving it there isn't buying Bitcoin. It's buying an IOU. And the last decade has been a masterclass in what happens when those exchanges don't deliver on their promises.
Bitcoin Well is a self-custody Bitcoin platform. That means that when you buy Bitcoin, it goes straight to your self-custody Bitcoin wallet. You actually own it from the very first transaction. They're available both in the United States and Canada. Pricing is transparent, straightforward, and no nonsense. And if you're buying a larger amount of Bitcoin, Bitcoin Well Infinite gives you concierge-level support through a dedicated executive Bitcoin advisor, premium help for when it actually matters.
You can also stack a little extra through the referral and wishing well rewards. A nice bonus on top of the owning your own Bitcoin thing. So go to bitcoinwell.com/simply and sign up for the Bitcoin Well portal today and buy Bitcoin you actually own. Paper burns, paper floods, paper fades. If your seed phrase is written on paper, it's not really backed up. It's waiting to disappear. Stampseed's DIY kit lets you hammer your seed words directly into commercial grade titanium. Fireproof, crush-proof, waterproof, and permanent. Once your words are in the metal, they aren't going anywhere. Use code SIMPLY at stampseed.com for 15% off anything in the store. That's stampseed.com, code SIMPLY. Sorry guys. I was reading the chat. You guys caught me reading the chat. Oh, dude, I'm all over the place. Anyways. Story. Spoiler alert. Okay. Current Bitcoin price is 64,580. It did get to 65. Let me see what the high was this morning. It was like 65 something. Let me see. It got as high as 65,340 this morning. Currently rebounded a little bit, 64,570. It is currently at a 48.8% discount from all-time high, and the market cap is 1.3 trillion. Current block height is 961,466. Let me, I was going to maybe talk about the BIP 110 stuff, but we'll see how that happens. Let's see. When is the BIP 110 activation? A day and 3 hours. Yeah, but what block? 166 blocks remaining. So 166 blocks until the BIP 110 signaling period. So if we were all last weekend hyper focused on making sure our Bitcoin wallets were not being hacked, I think this weekend, we're all watching our Bitcoin wallets. I know I was. Last Friday to Saturday, I literally first thing I did, I woke up and I checked some wallets. I'm like, did I get hacked last night? Like, no, I didn't. It was at a cold card. It was just a cold card specific issue. Now this week, it's almost like the Bitcoin World Cup right now. World Cup was kind of fun. This is not that fun, I would say. Last Friday was not fun at all. But anyways, We're all going to be watching the hash rate. We're all going to be watching the BIP 110 signaling period. Will we see some miners start signaling right away over the weekend or not? I saw a good Bob Burnett tweet and basically says, we'll know within 4 blocks. So if no one signals, no one flips over in, what was this, 166 blocks? 166, or I guess 170 blocks, by 170 blocks, BIP 110 is DOA. Hey, don't shoot the messenger. That's what Bob Burnett was saying. Go check out his Twitter. Anyways, that's not what I want to talk about. But that being said, we're all going to be watching the hash rate this weekend. Another vigilant weekend for us Bitcoiners. Anyways, here's what I really want to talk about, which is if you are following macro news, if you're a nerd like I am and we follow macro and geopolitical situations, there was a huge event. And again, maybe someone remind me in the chat, how come this even popped up in my head? I don't remember. Anyways, the U.S. intervened to prop up the Japanese yen on Friday. The United States and Japan carried out their first coordinated currency intervention in more than a decade, buying yen to arrest its slide to a 40-year low. Council of Foreign Relations Brad W. Setzer explains what is behind the move and why it could be more about U.S. Treasury bonds in the dude, Captain Obvious. This is the Council of Foreign Relations article, but the only reason I got this one because I had a good headline. Does this tell me how much? Because I forget. It was billions. It was in the billies, but I don't have those numbers on hand. Let's see how much sell for yen. How big was this intervention? It was I guess it's not officially disclosed, but reports from Reuters and other financial news outlets note that while Japan spent an estimated $36.58 billion equivalent buying yen, the precise breakdown of the euros divested by Washington remains private, though the U.S. holds roughly 26 billion euros in total reserve fund. So it was a $1 billion intervention in the yen to essentially save Japan, the Bank of Japan. So as I've been covering on this show, and I know you guys like tuned out and you're like, Opti, this is a Bitcoin show. Why are we talking about the Bank of Japan? Well, as everyone knows, it's been coined the yen carry trade for years, for decades. You would take basically zero interest debt from Japan, like literally zero, no interest on the debt if you took out loans from the Bank of Japan, and then you would take those yens and you would invest that into your country, into your company. So everyone is very reliant on Japan essentially having no interest on their debt. And this is what's been keeping the modern monetary theory Keynesian economy afloat. This is the gas that's been keeping the train going. Well, in the last couple of months, well, it's obviously been for a while, but particularly in the last couple of weeks, we've seen that the Bank of Japan is in a very tough position. They have a choice. They either destroy the yen, they let the currency collapse, or they try to protect their interest rates. Essentially, don't let them go too high. They have no move left. And it seems like the choice is probably keep the debt interest rates, the Bank of Japan interest rates low, and pretty much destroy the yen. Like that seems to be what they're doing. They've been trying to intervene. It's not really doing too much. It's only giving them a little bit of time, but it's not really doing what they want it to. So that's what we've been covering. And then what happened on Friday is the U.S. Treasury was like, you know what? We have to step in and protect the Bank of Japan. Not because of the Japanese people or because their currency is collapsing. It's no, we have to step in to protect our bonds because Japan is the largest U.S. Treasury holder. And they really only have, one thing they could do, which is just dump U.S. Treasuries en masse on the market. But what would that do? That would have collateral damage to the entire world. And in particular for us, that would spike bond yields. They would just go through the roof, and probably the entire global economy would blow up. But what's interesting here, and the only reason I'm bringing this up, is because remember Tom Luongo, he's been on this train for a while saying, hey, look, what Trump, oh, this is, I think, why it came to mind. Tom Luongo has been saying for a long time that what Trump is doing is he's trying to wrestle control from the city of London, because they've been sending the rates for the dollar. You know, they're not American. You know, the city of London, like Davos crowd, they've been sitting on their ivory towers, and they've been able to manipulate the world via currency, via having the center of the financial world essentially have like a shadow government in the city of London. Now, okay, I mixed up a lot of parables there, or a lot of statements there, but like, forgive me. Anyways, this is why it's interesting, because guys, I know the Rumble chat keeps saying Tom Luongo's selling ladders, but bro, you see this headline this morning from the Financial Times? I think he might be right. I think he's right, dude. Like, this is an interesting headline. The U.S. Euro sale to prop up the yen blindsided the European Central Bank. And then it gets a little more interesting. Here is a little, blurb. And this is from the Financial Times screenshot. It goes, Washington sales of euros carried out by the New York Federal Reserve on behalf of the U.S. Treasury were very striking and sad. It's sad, man. One person familiar with the discussions among European policymakers told the Financial Times, quote, this has never happened before. They added, saying that decades of close cooperation between Western central banks that fostered financial stability and economic growth may have come under threat. Dude, the Fiat Times. Guys, Fiat Times is a bought and paid rag for the city of London, bros. Confirmed. Anyways, I think this tweet here is AI, so forgive me for reading it. We're reading some AI slop, but there is a little bit of truth in here. So the United States sold euros to buy yen without telling the European Central Bank until after the trade was done. And I think that is the biggest signal that maybe Tom Luongo is right here, that there is a trade war of the U.S. wrestling control from the city of London, from the shadow bankers, if you will. And everything we're seeing is a trade war. Senior ECB's officials, of course, called it an unprecedented breach of longstanding conventions, saying this has never happened before. Selling dollars to defend the yen would have contradicted best and strong dollar policy. Selling euros, though, avoided that problem. But selling a European asset to defend an Asian currency to protect an American bond market without consulting the institution whose asset was sold is not a currency intervention. It is the reserve architecture consuming the alliance architecture. That's how you know it's AI. But yeah, I think that like this story connected with last Friday's story of the yen intervention. I didn't look at Tom Luongo's Twitter account this morning, but maybe we should do that right now. I'm sure he's gloating. He's got to be gloating. He's got to be gloating here. I'm going to hide it for a moment, because who knows? Who knows what my Twitter might pop up here? It's probably not YouTube safe. So let me see. Did he quote tweet? Did he quote tweet? I don't know. No. Doesn't seem like it. Someone tag Luongo on this. Someone go tag Luongo. Let's make Tom Luongo aware. He must be out on the farm right now smoking a cigar. But I don't know. I read that headline and my first thought is, damn, I think Tom Luongo was right. I think we are seeing the U.S. Treasury wrestle control from the shadow bankers of the city of London. And the big tell for me was they didn't tell the European Central Bank. They're like, you know what? Hey, Japan, how about you don't sell U.S. Treasuries and spike our bond yields? We got an idea. How about we dump European bonds on the market so we spike the European bond yields? Dude, Scott Bessent, though, Ayo, Bessent though, it's kind of a monster. I'd much rather him on my team than be be facing Scott Bessent right now in this monetary war. Dude, it's kind of a Jad. It's kind of a savage. It's almost like he's been a part of this before. It's almost like he's seen this playbook in the past. It's almost like he may have worked under George Soros and crashed the pound. I mean, I don't know. It's almost like he's destroyed currencies before. And now we have him protecting out the US currency and causing havoc to our brothers across the pond, to the top hats in the city of London. I don't know. I see this. I'm like, damn, Tom Luongo is right. So, hey, this might be, weekend homework while you're watching the BIP 110 activation. Maybe you got to go listen to a little more Tom Luongo this weekend. I think he hit the nail on the head there. And that this has never been happened before. This is breaking long-standing cooperation between the U.S. and the city of London. I think that's the biggest tell here. It feels so good not to have a funny accent this morning. It feels so good to sound like a Valley girl. Oh, man. Interesting times. All right. Anyways, I'll keep going. I'm not even looking at the chat. Maybe I'm having a little too much fun. You guys want me to be a little more? Yo, RL. Hey, yo. Oh, RL in the chat off the top of ropes, bro. Scary times for us, Bitcoin. Yeah. Yes, it is time. It is. America's really screwing things up with the rest of the world right now. That is a matter of perspective, my friend. It is a matter of perspective. If you're not an American, yeah, it's probably not good. But if you are an American, it's kind of like, okay, my American chauvinism is popping up. It's kind of a good thing. I'm kind of okay with this. Okay, Opti's a status again, whatever. But it literally is a matter of yo, RL chill. Yo, RL the chat show. All right, anyways, guys, I'll be right back. I will get a little more serious. Sorry. It's Friday. Casual Friday. Can I have some fun here? Everyone always wants me to be so serious. You guys are the Joker meme. Why so serious? I can't laugh and joke and have fun. I got to be entertaining. You guys wouldn't watch me if I was like, hey guys, so anyway, I'll be right back. I do have some pretty serious updates in terms of the token wars heating up. Again, no concern for your cold storage. Well, your seed phrase. No concern for your seed phrase per se. But there is some pretty significant updates that I've been trying to get in throughout the week. But, it's been a weird week. And we got a pretty big one this morning. So let me play the break and I'll be right back.
I want to give a shout out to our partner, Ledin. Here's something most Bitcoin holders never figure out until it's too late. You're sitting on wealth you can't touch without selling. Ledin fixes that. Bitcoin-backed loans. You keep your stack, you get cash. And they just introduced their lowest rates ever. No complexity, no fine print. The larger the loan, the lower the rate. These new rates apply to all new loans, refinances, and renewals. You'll see all the rates up front before you apply. The new, lower rates come with Ledin's gold standard protection. Your Bitcoin remains custodied and is never lent out for interest. Perfect 8-year track record of keeping clients' assets safe. Auto top-ups, LTV alerts, and partial repayments to keep you in control. Repay whenever you want with zero penalties or monthly payments. Ledin's perfect $10 billion track record through every market cycle in the last 8 years speaks for itself. Don't choose between a great rate and the safety of your Bitcoin. Get both at Ledin. If you ever thought, what happens to my Bitcoin if something happens to me? Or what happens if I lose my phone? You're not alone. For a lot of people, the biggest barrier to self-custody isn't buying Bitcoin. It's the fear of making a mistake. And that's why I like Bitkey, and I recommend it to my friends and family. Bitkey is a Bitcoin wallet built for real life, not just for day one, but for everything that happens in between. Lost devices, upgrades, accidents, and long-term ownership. There's no seed phrase to write down and worry about losing, and no single point of failure that can lock you out of your Bitcoin forever. What really stands out about Bitkey is the peace of mind. Recovery is built in, inheritance is built in. It's a complete self-custody system built by the team behind Square and Cash App, designed to make holding your own Bitcoin simpler and safer. Take self-custody of your Bitcoin today using Bitkey. Go to bitkey.world and use promo code SIMPLY for 10% off your new Bitkey. That's bitkey.world, promo code SIMPLY. I want to give a shout out to our partner, HIVE Digital Technologies. Fueled by clean energy across 3 continents, HIVE runs dual engines, Bitcoin mining and AI compute. Their AI platform is ranked #1 in the world for network performance, and it's doing something bigger than compute. It's accelerating human discovery, the science, the breakthroughs, pushing humanity further and faster. Listed on the NASDAQ with the ticker HIVE. Catch the latest buzz at HIVE Digital Tech on X or hivedigitaltech.com.
You secured your Bitcoin, but did you secure your devices too? They're still broadcasting your location and digital footprint. GPS, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cell, 5G, EMF, all of it is leaking. Escape Zone fixes that. Their Faraday bags block every signal your device emits, so you decide when you're detectable, not the grid. Built for Bitcoiners who know sovereignty isn't just your wallet. It's your phone, your hardware wallet, your keys, and your entire digital life. Go to escapezone.com/simply and use code SIMPLY for 10% off. That's escapezone.com/simply, code SIMPLY. All right, guys, hold on. So hold on, I'm in the chat. RL gets it, okay? RL, thank you. Keep it fun, Opti. RL gets it, all right? Look, before I get into like a much more serious topic here, one thing, actually, no, let me get into this because there is like a critical vulnerability. So I'm going to start with that and I'll give you an update. So, guys, if you are running a BTCPAY server, you need to update your BTCPAY server right away, like right now, like literally right now. So BTCPAY server just tweeted literally right before I went on the show, there's a critical vulnerability being attacked or actively exploited on BTCPAY server, which can result in the loss of funds. So if you have a BTCPAY server, go update it. You might lose funds in your store, okay? So please update your BTCPAY server to 2.4.2 by going to admin dashboard and then go to server and then go to maintenance and then go to update and verify the 2.4.2 version string in the footer. If you are unable to update right away, turn off your BTCPAY server to prevent unauthorized access until you can update. So I was going to kind of wait for this, but first things first, RL, remind me again, I do want to make a point about what you said. But if you have a BTCPAY server, if you are taking Bitcoin payments for a store and you have funds on that BTCPAY server, either update it or turn it off, as this tweet says, because you are at risk for losing funds, okay? So with that really critical announcement out of the way, what we've seen since Thursday is that we are in the midst of the token wars, as people have been calling it, or the AI versus Bitcoin era, where we're seeing AI agents actively attacking the code, the different code bases around Bitcoin security, whether that's Bitcoin Core or your Bitcoin wallet or the Bitcoin payment infrastructure, as we've seen happen this week. And I think I might have mentioned it at some point, where what we're seeing is that the cost for a hacker to attack this code has been dramatically decreased because of these AI agents, and they can do it so cheaply and way faster then it can take the developers to patch the fixes, to find the bugs, to find where the exploit is happening. So there is an asymmetry happening right now where the AI assistance is making it way cheaper and way faster to attack this code. Now, as I mentioned a few times on this show throughout the week, it's not just a Bitcoin problem. We have seen this go further into TradFi. And I was making the case, and I think I forgot when I mentioned it on Monday or something. I talked to my mother over the weekend, and I was kind of explaining this, and she got like rightfully scared. And I'm like, yeah, this is going to happen to all critical software. If it hasn't already happened, it will soon spread to all critical software. You know, your banks. I don't want to, use the big button word here, but the one really big bomb that looks like a mushroom. Like this is all happening now. Obviously, they probably have really good security there. I would hope, obviously. But this is happening to all critical software. And as we know, we live in a digital world. Everything runs on software. So everything is currently being attacked right now with these new frontier AI agents. Yes, there is like the Bitcoin Red team. Yes, there is Loop from the Block team. Or maybe that's under Spiral. I guess Spiral is under Block. But we have active white hats, developers that are using AI to protect code. Like, it's not a new blind side, okay? But what we are seeing is that they are kind of increasing right now. And this week, let me start here with Kaye Bitcoin, good Bitcoiner. He runs the eCash, or made the eCash that has been very popular. Here's the latest update on the Bitcoin Red team that is infamously led by Rob Hamilton, the recent folk hero of the cold card saga. Latest update, the Bitcoin Red team is 55 hours into the campaign, is now 24 people working around the clock. They've scanned 425 projects so far and have produced 1,029 high to critical findings, or high plus critical findings, which I don't necessarily know what that high plus critical necessarily means, but doesn't sound so good. So in the first 55 hours of operation, the campaign filed 6,700 findings across 425 projects, 120.6 findings and 7.7 projects per hour. The corpus holds 123 critical and 906 high severity issues. Okay, that's a good clarification. 15.4% of all findings. Damn. 15% of all of the queries here from the AI agents were either critical or high severity issues. Crazy. On average, 2.42 per project. 130 projects, or 30.6%, have had findings disclosed upstream so far. 22% of findings were dynamically reproduced, and 84% arrived via automated scan intake. I don't know what that last part means, but anyway, we generated 6,700 findings so far and are hitting 7 to 7. Okay, they said this. We have hunters, wizards, outreachers, sugar daddies, and gigglers. Let's go. Our high, what is it? High critical rate per person per hour is back at roughly 1 as we work off a massive backlog and as the team grows and naturally divides up roles. Our H plus C ratio is at 15. I mentioned that. This is great. Our accuracy is stable and even slightly increasing. We're trying our best to reproduce all critical findings in local reg tests before reporting them to projects. Our biggest bottleneck is outreach. Most projects don't have a security.md in the repos. 20% or 19.5%. Only 13.1% have an email in there. We're working on better ways to reach folks. In the meantime, the best thing you can do as a project maintainer is to leave an email address in your repo. OpenSats has been funding this, but most of the stuff that I've seen is nothing in terms of what we saw with the cold card. Most of the very popular Bitcoin and crypto wallets have ran AI tests, and no one else is, at least thus far, as far as we know here. There could be more dormant bugs or whatever. No one's at risk of losing funds, a la in the cold card way. So you can rest at night if you, even again, I know we've been talking multi-sig a lot on this show, and yes, maybe it's not the best advice, but if you have Bitcoin on a single sig right now, 12 words is enough entropy as of now. Bitcoin, the protocol hasn't broken. The math hasn't broken. Again, this was a one manufacturer issue. It was just CoinKite. So you can rest at night. You're not going to lose your funds. But as we can see, this token wars, as it's been coined, it's really getting in the overdrive. And shouts out to the red team. Shouts out to, again, I think it's Blocks Loop. Might be Spiral, but it's basically the same company. Shouts out to Loop. It's Loupe. It is, I'm pretty sure it's Block. It is the Block team. They have a specific team that is using AI to do this exact thing. So it's not a new issue. The latest kind of grassroots movement, which is this Bitcoin red team that Kaye and Rob are a part of, that's relatively new. But this is a thing that, you know, they have been foreseeing and they're doing. It's just, I think the grassroots movement of the IT and the Bitcoin response, like I said, that was one of the, I don't want to say necessarily heartwarming aspects of this whole saga, but that was one of those like badass moments that went through this. Now, I know it's hard to kind of say that, considering that all of our friends, and you know, it was basically all of our friends that lost some funds. You know, it's brutal. I was explaining this to one of my friends who's been a Bitcoiner for a long time, but he's kind of like, he's tuned out on Twitter, and he had a cold card, and he luckily didn't have any funds on a cold card. He just like had one, used one in the past, and he kind of like moved some coin, and it wasn't there. And I was telling him all this, and he's like, dude, do I know any of them? I'm like, yeah, like it was all of our friends, dude. It's brutal. And he's like, no way. Damn, dude. And anyways, we were chatting about that last night, and just absolutely brutal week. But again, the silver lining is a lot of the code's being tested. The developer project leads are aware of this, obviously, as I've been mentioning. And I think as we are starting to see, the attackers can attack the code a lot quicker than the developers can patch the code. And that's the asymmetry. That's the imbalance here. It's, I think, one of the big things that we probably didn't highlight enough was that the idea, and again, not to pick on Cold Card or CoinKite here, but if you remember CoinKite, a lot of the stuff in previous years where the idea wasn't necessarily that these devices, like the idea of a hardware wallet, it's not necessarily that it is unhackable. The idea was kind of like it cost a lot to hack these, and the computation to hack it is usually out of most people's hands. Like it's just too expensive for most people to do these attacks. Well, that was the old assumption. It used to be very expensive and hard to do these hacks. But now with this AI agent token wars that we're seeing, the cost is dropped. I think I saw something kind of covering the cost to do these attacks just per wallet. And it was like it was something ridiculous, like $2 of AI tokens to hack the cold card wallets. Like it used to be, I think NVK has said in the past, CoinKite has said in the past, it like, you know, it's going to take someone about like 300K to do this attack. For most people, it doesn't make sense unless they know that you're a huge Bitcoin holder. There was this saga with the Trezor back in the day where like, or maybe it was the Ledger. I forget exactly which company it was. And this is not to, you know, fearmonger, but there was, I believe it was Trezor, like the Trezor 1. That's why they came out with the new update, that it costs something like, I don't know, $10,000 to hack it, or to, you know, to brute force it. I forget that. But if you've been around, you probably know the story. And again, not to scare you away from your cold storage, if you're using Trezor at this point, Trezor and Ledger, at least in terms of the cold card hack, came out with flying colors on this term. But they used to say, I vividly remember, it's like, look, it's not that this device is unhackable per se, it just makes it, it's just costly. It's a cost thing, and it gives you some time so that you can move your funds if you know what you're doing. And there was that saga where I believe it was the Trezor one, it was like way cheaper to do. Well, now it's not even the thousands, it's literally dollars. It takes dollars to do that cold card hack. Now, obviously, they did to a lot of addresses, so that adds up. But the asymmetry in regards to the token wars and what we're seeing, again, to repeat myself, it's the amount of effort and money that it takes in a hacker to do this has been basically eliminated. So the assumption of, oh, it just costs too much to do it, that's why they won't do it. That assumption's out the window. Now they can attack the code way faster than the red team and the white hats can patch and fix the code. So we are in a brave new world right now. Again, not to fearmonger, from everything I've seen, no other Bitcoin wallets are affected. But we did see that Lightning has been affected by this. And this is one of the things that I wanted to point out earlier this week. I just kind of got lost in everything we're doing. So Bolts had to shut down. It's disabled until further notice. And it says their API remains available to process refunds cooperatively. In any case, unilateral refunds will work as they do not depend on our infrastructure. And Bolts, if I remember correctly, I think Bull Bitcoin responded. The Bull wallet responded to this. I think they were using Bolts. The Aqua wallet responded to this. They were using Bolts. There was a few other hardware wallets that are pretty popular that were, I think Zeus basically said, and we're good. This doesn't affect us. I forget what the other wallets were, but yeah, it's hitting Lightning. And it was Bolts is like an implementation to basically make Lightning seamless for these Bitcoin wallets and the swaps. I believe it was just the swaps in particular. Wasn't necessarily breaking Lightning. It was just the Bolt swap feature. Anyways, to be clear, this is not a response to a single incident. Over the past month, we have seen a steady rise in automated AI-assisted probing of our infrastructure, and we have dealt with several exploits. Each was contained, but the pattern is clear. Attackers now iterate faster than a team our size can find and patch, which I've been saying. In the past few days alone, we saw a drastic acceleration. We do not believe this asymmetry will reverse. After reviewing the results of our own recent security scans, we cannot responsibly re-enable Bolt Swap, especially as we are being actively targeted by what appear to be multiple resourceful groups while we race to deploy fixes. What we are seeing is a major paradigm shift for Bitcoin services operating on the open source stack, and it needs careful analysis. Do not expect swap services to resume shortly. To be explicit, no user funds were ever at risk. Bolts is non-custodial by design, and as a fully bootstrapped company, the losses were ours alone. We don't know yet how things will continue from here, but we'll keep you posted as soon as we've had the time to catch our breath and make a decision. So again, kind of crazy. It's kind of it is a truly eye-opening week, to say the least, in terms of like critical software. And I hate to say it, but faulty coding, weak coding maybe is the best way to put it. But also, again, this like, I don't even know if you could call AI like a peer-reviewed process. AI reviewed process is obviously catching a lot of stuff. I think once we are able to respond, and I mean the community and the developers that are part of this project, like all this will get better, obviously. But in the meantime, I was saying the other day, it's like this next 2 weeks is going to be a very interesting time. It might get a little scary for a little bit, but I think at least probably for this year, this is still going to be in the back of our minds for a while. But this was also interesting. Shout out to Rizzo for posting this. He wasn't the only one, but I like this tweet here. He goes, Anthropic CEO was just publicly challenged to hack a wallet. holding over $6 million worth of Bitcoin. BitGo CEO put 100 Bitcoin in a wallet and said, enough with the, we created a hacking monster games, do it for real, go get the 100 Bitcoin. And that has yet to be hacked. So look, BitGo CEO, ballsy move, bro, ballsy move. So there's 100 Bitcoin bounty right now to hack BitGo's. I think this is in BitGo's custody. I'm guessing it's like a, you know, multi-sig kind of setup. So just interesting times to say the least. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. That's all I got for you today. JJ, I'm sorry, I'm not as smart as you. I'm sorry, JJ. I'm sorry I'm not as smart as you on Rumble. He's saying Opti will never see it coming. We haven't seen any problems coming, lol. Eye-opening for some people, others not so much. Dude, so condescending. I love it. JJ, never change, bro. Anyways, we made another week, guys. Hopefully the lights come back. I did get in touch with our lighting specialist. Hopefully I'm not in a dark cave on Monday and we get this worked out for you. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Oh yeah. I do want to touch on this again. RL, thanks you for reminding me. I don't think you did. Maybe you did. It got lost. Opti asked the question why hackers want to hack and take our keys because it's valuable, even though the mainstream. I mean, yeah. Well, I heard someone say the reason they started with Bitcoin is what you're saying, that yes, of course it's valuable, but also because it is a bearer asset, because it's something that you can, you know, once you get into, you control. And I thought that was a pretty good insight as well. But obviously it's because it's valuable. And I think we said it a couple of times that, I think it was Mr. Hoddle that tweeted it. He said something like Bitcoin, like everyone needs Bitcoin. They just don't know it yet. And as we're seeing, you know, Bitcoin, or no, I think it was Bitcoin is making everyone better. They just don't know it yet, or something along the lines there. Anyways, RL said, Opti, keep it fun. I can't find it anymore, but I do want to touch on that a little bit. Opti only has 42 IQ. Yeah, dude, give me a break, dude. I'm doing the best with what I can with my peanut neurons. Okay. I do want to acknowledge something here on that RL comment of keep it fun. I know some people yell at me all the time. It's like, Opti, why are you laughing? You yell too much. You're an idiot. You know, you have 42 IQ. You don't know what you're talking about. And when I do the show, one, it is fun. Like, I just have fun. Like, my friend, he was telling me the other day, hold on, let me get he was watching the show, and he called me after the show, and he's like, dude, it's such a trip watching you on the show. It's like, it's literally like I'm on the phone with you. This is just how you are. It's literally like I'm on the phone with you. And of course, I had to drop the famous line, you know, I'm on TV talking like it's just you and me. So I have fun. Look, I do have a kind of a bad problem of never taking anything seriously. It drives Nico crazy. I'm always joking, even when I'm supposed to be serious. Yes, this is me deflecting. Okay, psychoanalyze me all you want. Someone said I have a, what was it? So, I was laughing the other day, and someone said Opti has flim flam syndrome or something. Like, Opti's a flim flam man. I'm like, okay, boomer, I don't even know what you're saying here. So I had to Google it. And I thought it was going to be something on the lines of like, you know, Opti never takes anything seriously. He's a joker, a jester. It flim flam man apparently is something like, I got con artist vibes. I was like, bro, like, don't insult me like that. Like, okay, I joke. I like to troll. I try to have fun. Anyways, side tangent. The RL comment about having fun. That I realized this week, without a doubt, you don't come here to listen to me about Bitcoin. You come here just to be entertained and have fun. You know, come kick it with the boys, talk about Bitcoin, shoot the shit. This week was like the best example of that. We give you like the most technical close to 4 days on this show, and you guys are tired of it. You don't want to hear it. You're like, I don't care about the security aspect of Bitcoin. Opti, just, you know, make jokes. Opti, go up there and dance, little monkey. Entertain me. Here's your quarters. Here's your likes. Here's your likes. Entertain me. Entertain me. You know, it's true. It's true. I'm just your Geppetto. Wait, no, sorry. I'm just your Pinocchio. Pause. Okay. But it, like, you guys, we get technical. You know, you could say we have audience capture. That's like what Nico is saying. It's like we have audience capture. Like they really just want to hear us about the news. We do our community due diligence and try to keep you informed on everything and give you the best practices to protect your Bitcoin. And you guys are like, I'm not clicking on that. You yell at me because I clickbait too much. You yell at me about my titles. We do some like very clear, like, you know, I guess you could say kind of boring, you know, like protect yourself security stuff in the face of one of the worst attacks for all of our friends. And it's the worst numbers we've had in weeks, bro. I get it. I'm just your jester. I'm like, what's that one Motel song or like a soul R&B song? Like, I'm just your jester. I forget what it is. High on air. No. I don't smoke, bro. This is just caffeine. And hey, if there's children in the room, I can't tell you what it really is. If you know, you know. It's caffeine, okay? It's just caffeine. I just drink a lot of caffeine before the show. I drink probably like 350 to 400 milligrams of caffeine before the show. I'll tell you what I did today. And then I'm signing off. All right. And then I'm signing off for Friday. This morning, I had a double shot espresso. I had a large cold brew. That was the first thing. First thing in the morning, double shot espresso. I also got a cold brew. I ran out of coffee this morning. You know, don't do the like, oh, you're going to the store to get coffee, bro. You should be stacking sats. I know, but this is a work expense, okay? So I ran out of coffee this morning. I've been really into the cold brew. And I look at my fridge at like 8 in the morning and I'm like, oh, I forgot to go to the store and get some coffee. Rip. So I went and got a double shot espresso, freaking down that instantly. It was burning hot. It burned my mouth. And then I got a large cold brew, like, you know, a big one. I didn't go to Starbucks. I went to the Whole Foods. I like the Whole Foods coffee. It's close to my house. Smash that. Put 2 sugars in, a little bit of milk. Smash that. And then on the way to the studio, I was kind of geeking. I'm like, all right, you know, I feel pretty good, but I think I need a little more. And then I got a yerba mate, you know, Valley Girl accent with my yerba mate. I got the awakening orange. It's delicious. All right, you know, whatever. Yeah, I'm a BB. I'm a basic. Whatever. They're delicious. So I think that would be about 450. Is it milligrams of caffeine this morning? So there you know. There you go. That is the secret. Disney gonna sue you off this for what? What I do now? But anyways, the point of me rambling here and, you know, just shooting the shit with you is, hey, it works. You come hang out with me. I need people to click on the videos. You guys yell at me at the titles all day, but hey, it's almost like I know what I'm doing over here. Keep yelling at me. I listen. I hear you. But we go back to the news yesterday. Monday, like 5K views. Tuesday, like 4.8. Wednesday, like 4.2. I do a news show, 8K. And that's like our kind of average right now in this bear market right now. I'm trying to be like, 10, 20K to really dominate, but we try to do a solid for you guys, and you guys don't watch the video. So, hey, I'm back. We're back to clickbait scamming. Sorry, it's not scamming. We're back to clickbaiting you into profits. Wait. That one doesn't work either. Where are the profits? Bitcoin's 50% off. Win number go up. Anyways, guys, I'm done. Okay, I got a Keurig. They are not. I mean, I got one of those nice like those Sterling silver like espresso machines. I didn't buy it. Okay, I didn't buy it. It was a gift. I guess I should have sold it so I could stack Bitcoin, whatever. I like coffee, all right? But I don't know, guys. Hot coffee just doesn't do it for me down here in this swamp. It just like, when I was in Texas, cold morning, hot coffee, oh, so good. Warms your body up in the morning. Here, I'm melting, and I want a cold brew. I want some iced coffee, okay? That's just where I'm at right now. I know. Last thing. Yeah, I'm just rambling. You guys hang out with me or not. I was joking with my mom the other day because she called me. She's like, how's the weather? Is it hot down there in Miami? I'm like, yeah, it's humid. It's hot. It's brutal. I think I'm getting used to it. And I don't know if this summer was as bad as last summer, or maybe because I was new. But this is my last joke. Probably not that kosher of a joke. But, I've always thought that hell would be like, hold on. I always thought hell would be, why is it blurry? Why are you blurring on me? I always thought hell would be hot and dry. I've come to realize that hell is not hot and dry. Hell is hot and humid. Without a doubt. When you think of, the red beast with the flames, it's not hot and dry, bros. It's hot and humid. I'm convinced of this, okay? Anyways, guys. Fredo Espresso. I don't know what that is, Yellow. Are you trolling me? Anyways, guys. Have a good weekend. I hope the lights and the set will be back for you on Monday. We will be back to normal programming. I think we will probably get guests to come in later on the show. So, we're gonna continue doing this. We might get multiple guests on the show, but we'll get back to the normal programming in terms of the first part of the show. The trending news, what you guys want to see. But I think we will continue to get smarter guests than me. We'll continue to get the experts on the show and kind of continue this conversation that has been started last Thursday night. Oh, okay. Yellow's not trolling. Fredo Espresso. Is that like a way to make it? Anyways, guys, have a good weekend. Relax. Don't panic. It's all good. Remember, it's all good. All right. It's all good. Doesn't mean be complacent, but it's all good. On that note, have a good weekend, my friends. I'll see you on Monday. All the things, get some sun, work out, get outside, dude. Put Twitter down. Maybe watch Twitter Saturday morning and then go do things, go live life. Call your loved ones. We're going to eat good this weekend, boys. We are eating good. Okay. And of course, stack some Bitcoin and take it into custody. I guess the nuance is take it into custody. Maybe look into multi-sig. Maybe do some homework. I was going to do that this weekend, but I literally had a friend Ninja Land down here and he's like, hey, I'm in town. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, can I sleep on your couch? I'm like, Oh, shit. All right. So I had planned to do the multi-sig research, get myself familiar with it. So if you don't have friends freaking intruding in your life, maybe that's what you want to do this weekend, okay? So secure your Bitcoin, take it into self-custody, all the things. All right, guys. Well, it's blurry. I'll see you tomorrow. Wait, I'll see you on Monday. Have a good rest of your day, guys. Have a good weekend. Peace out.
Today's episode was brought to you by BitcoinWell.com, a Bitcoin-only platform on a mission to enable financial independence.